is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dove. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Okay, Champions Month is going into February. We started something new this year on the Fantasy Couriers. We are having champions of leagues we are in, and this week it's a special treat. I'm gonna let JJ Wang. These are people that are special to JJ Wang. Yeah, JJ Wang, don't roll your eyes. You had to live for a couple years with one of these people, and the other one you're stuck with now. So tell us who we got here on the show, JJ Wang.
Yeah, so this isn't my forte. I'll do my best. I'll probably make it quick. So this is the one in the middle, my sister Lisa. She's in one of our dynasty league that we started up. So she's one of our members there. And next to her is her husband, Rich, my brother-in-law. One of probably the most enthusiastic fantasy owners that we've probably brought into the fantasy world. I mean, if you ever need a fantasy player that you know is going to care, I mean, this is probably not saying Lisa doesn't care, not by any stretch of the means, but I mean, Rich really jumps in full throttle, and I mean, he could be kind of I don't want to blow his head up too much, but he could be like a centerpiece of a dynasty league because he likes to talk a lot. And if you want to talk, I mean, he'll talk right back with you. And that's the best thing about Dynasty.
He went from having, the two worst teams in both of these leagues to two teams that can compete, because it really is about being active pretty much, right, Rich?
Yeah, I've made a lot of trades. I started off the auction league pretty bad, the Dynasty Diamonds League. And a couple years later, here we are.
Yeah, that was a league where I was decided I had to be a nice human, and he was seeing how high he could get Kyler Murray in the original draft, and I'm like, do I throw him a bone? And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, please take him, because he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I barely know I'm trying to figure out. They're not Eagles. I don't know who I'm rooting for. And now he knows players that don't play for Philadelphia. So we'll talk about homer picks later on as we get in. But as we start every show, we talk about how many years guesstimate you've been doing fantasy, maybe something you like about it, and who your all-time favorite fantasy player is. And we'll go ladies first because we're gentlemen here. And so, Lisa, how long have you been doing fantasy? Was it Trust the Process or prior?
I mean, Trust the Process is probably my no. I've probably been doing fantasy for probably close to 10 years now.
Wow.
I think I've really actually tried. Once I got into Trust the Process, I cared a little bit more. But this is, I think, one of 3 leagues that I'm in. So, yeah.
I know 2. There's the Family League and Trust the Process.
Yeah, and then Rich's family has a league too. So I'm in that one.
Redraft.
Yeah.
Redraft. On the ESPN app.
Yeah.
Ew.
We've been trying to get off that app for a few years now. It's just not working.
My brother-in-law, my sister, and everybody else in that league will not.
Could be worse. I've got a Yahoo league. That's terrible. They're pretty terrible. So yeah, Lisa did the smart thing when we started Trust the Process. I believe your first 2 picks in Trust Superflex, or was it Superflex? Yeah. She shot for the moon, and she's had them ever since. Who are the cornerstones of that team for you, Lisa?
So I drafted Mahomes and Tyreek Hill 1 and 2. I have this strategy of pick your quarterback and pick their wide receiver, because when your wide receiver gets points, your quarterback gets points.
So can I interfere or
you
interrupt? I know your cornerstones. I feel like there should be another cornerstone on that team.
You know, we laughed at her because she got him in the 9th round, I think it was. Her other cornerstone of that team was Mr. Lamar Jackson. Yeah, it was right before.
I don't even think about him, which is crazy because it's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Then you're right. I was like, oh man, we laughed at her she's drafting Lamar. That dude can't pass. All of a sudden, she has Lamar, Patrick Mahomes. Good.
Well, I will say, when you said cornerstone, I was thinking Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson.
I was honestly.
That was the cornerstone, and you said Tyreek Hill. I was like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah,
I'll
no.
take,
See, in my head, it's
I'll,
different.
I'll take Lamar Jackson if you don't want him. I mean,
No, you can't have him either. No, no,
I'll
no.
take Tyreek Hill.
And I'm not getting rid of Tyreek Hill, Adam. Stop
I tried.
asking. Not happening.
I was like, is she paying attention?
Even though
this
I'm
week?
not getting the double points anymore, still not happening.
Oh, so who would your favorite fantasy player be of all time that you've had over 10 years? Whether it doesn't have to be the highest scoring guy, just some dude you liked, or
I mean, that's kind of a tough one. But like honestly, I'm just gonna go with like my original pick way back in the day, which was Peyton.
that was I was lipping it. If you see the video, I was like Peyton Manning. He was a
It's
Bronco at that
Peyton.
point too. He was a Bronco at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. And when he first went to the Broncos, I wasn't about it. I was like, no, why are we doing this? He just came out of surgery. Like this isn't gonna be good.
That's
Right?
super-
Like it was killer. So it really changed my mind. And I'm like, yeah, all right, let's do it. So Peyton has probably been ever since one of my faves for sure.
Peyton Manning, one of the greatest of all times.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now over to Rich. Yeah, when Peyton came into the league, I was like, he's not going to be any good. That quarterback out of Washington State,
Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf is going to be better. I have Ryan Leaf rookie cards
What a
out
bust.
the wazoo. My brother has Peyton Manning rookie cards, and
Yeah, I was on the Leaf train.
yeah, this is why we make this is why we
Derail
do a
real
podcast.
quick.
So Rich, same question. Rich does. So he's in our other league, which is the Dynasty auction draft that we do. So we use an auction draft style, online auction proxy draft to draft players. That's a hard one to learn. So when guys come in, it takes a little learning curve to get there. He'd never done an auction. It was a growing pain. So how many years have you been doing fantasy? We'll start there.
Well, if she's done 10, I guess I gotta double it. I don't even know.
Are you that old?
I'm
Right?
37. 37. Maybe 15. We'll go 15 years. I don't really know.
Yeah. So who then is your, like, in that league, basically what we did is him and I traded a lot. We just sort of swapped players back and forth so we could have the guys we liked. So he got Jalen Hurts. I got Tua. We traded there. If it wasn't for all those rushing touchdowns, it'd be about square, a couple of guys back and forth. So, but in the history of your fantasy teams, who's been the favorite guy you've had on your team for whatever reason?
That's not an Eagle.
No.
You named a Bronco.
We're talking all time.
Yeah, that you've had on your
I
team.
would have to go. He's really fun to watch. Adrian Peterson.
That's mine. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
He is amazing. That guy was amazing. And when he got hurt, he had that ACL. He came back like 10 times stronger.
Yep.
It was amazing.
He's a
never
robot.
seen anybody like that.
Fun fact, he was my second ever Dynasty pick when I started Dynasty years ago, and they laughed at me. This is rookie year, was my first year doing Dynasty.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, dude, you're taking a rookie? And I said, that dude is going to be good. And he was pretty stinking good. So, yeah. So we got JJ Wang's family here tonight, and we're going to talk about dream fantasy teams. We just told them, name your dream fantasy team. We're going to do a quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, and a homer pick. So you'll see their favorite teams. We sort of mentioned it there. And we'll look at it from a current perspective, from a future perspective, since they are Dynasty champs, see how they would rank them along with other players for the future, knowing that really Dynasty is probably about 3 years. You look at Dynasty like in a 3-year window, chunking up and down. And there's a couple guys on there they can look at like, ooh, I want them next year, but do I want them in 2 years? Do I want them in 3 years? And sort of look at it from that range. So since we went ladies first this time, we'll be jerks. We'll go gentlemen first this time. Oh, no, we'll go Rich first this time. And we will – it's fun to watch the video. But we'll start with our quarterback. Rich, who's your quarterback and why did you pick him? Had to hurt a little bit, didn't it?
This was tough. I was in between Mahomes. I was in between Allen. I was thinking about Lamar. I was mainly thinking about this year. And I went with Allen. I like his dual threat. I think he runs like a freaking tight end out there, and he's just fun to watch. I don't know. It was hard.
Can you pause it real quick?
See, Josh Allen, and we were talking. I was talking with Rich before the show. If we look at Josh Allen, you see, if you're watching the video, Rich is sporting his Eagles gear, so it had to be hard to not say Hurts. But Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts actually had 15 touchdowns apiece, and nobody else even sniffed that. So those two guys are banking on it. He can but the passing—that's the difference, right?
Yeah, I think it's good, Jay.
I mean, I think that is the difference when you look at. I think Josh Allen's just been safer over the last few years, right? I mean, he's been like the number one fantasy player for the last 3 years. So, I mean, why wouldn't you go Josh? Why would you not want Josh Allen? He's been the guy. It hasn't been Pat Mahomes. It hasn't been Jalen Hurts. It hasn't been Lamar Jackson. It's been Josh Allen. He's the guy.
Do 22 turnovers worry you?
Evidently not, because he's still the
still
guy.
But,
right?
And in Hurts' defense, I feel like he had a regression of a year, but I still think he's going to be, better next year. I don't think that he's going to be this bad next year, but you never know. It is the NFL, and anything can happen. So,
I mean, Hurts.
I still had to go.
He was number 2.
Yeah,
Hurts wasn't. Hurts wasn't bad.
But ironically, Hurts had 20 turnovers. So those two guys. But it's the gunslinger. It's the old Brett Favre theory, right? Brett Favre threw a gajillion interceptions, and they did.
That could have been one.
AJ, you know who had number 1 most turnovers? Your preseason favorite quarterback, Samuel.
Oh, nice. He was good in the beginning.
Yeah, he started. So Lisa didn't go with Allen. Lisa went another route. I think she's. Were you thinking now, or were you thinking just continued on because he's so consistent with your guy? And who is it?
This season was not his season for sure. He struggled, but no. I mean, moving forward, you think about consistency. You think about who's making plays. He makes plays out of nothing. Like Mahomes, there are plays out of nothing. It's incredible sometimes to watch. So Mahomes is for sure my quarterback.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. He wins Super Bowls, yada, yada, yada. Cool. It's Pat Mahomes. He's a cool guy, right? But, all right, so now, obviously, Travis Kelce's still good. He limit the amount of weapons that he has. They rely more on the passing game or on the run game than they have in the past. And he obviously regresses, right? So what do the Chiefs do now? Do the Chiefs keep this, or do they try to go out and get like that number 1 receiver? Because if this is what they stay with, I don't think he can be like the number 1 guy, right? I think it's still going to be Josh Allen, Hurts, probably, and Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. Ever since I acquired Lamar Jackson,
he's on the train.
He's my favorite player.
You're a Lamar stan now. I love that. No, I mean, they have to get him some targets. They do for sure. He can't move forward without someone to target, someone to catch that ball. And Kelsey's not going to be there forever. That's a great duo. It's an incredible duo, but he's not going to be there forever. So, they do need to bring people in to make it sustainable, and I think that they will. But regardless, let's say, 3 years out, I do still think Mahomes could do it without having a bunch of people to target. He needs a couple for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But,
I'm not doubting Pat Mahomes won't be a top quarterback for the rest of his career, a la Tom Brady. I'm not doubting that. But I don't know if he will be the number 1 guy, or maybe like the number 2 guy. Maybe he's just like a consistent 5 to 10. Is that good enough for you?
I mean, I think top 5 for sure. I wouldn't even go 5 to 10. Sorry. And maybe this is my Tom Brady. Everyone was on you either loved Tom Brady or you hated him. I was not a fan. I am a Pat Mahomes fan, and maybe that's just,
And I'm obviously you can tell that I am not a Pat Mahomes fan.
Right. And again, he is this generation's Tom Brady. This is what it is. He's, is he the GOAT? Is he whatever? I like him. I really think he does a great job. I think he's got it regardless of who was on the field. I think they showed that this year. He didn't do great, but they made it work long term because tomorrow, you know, we're in the Super Bowl. So
we're
like we're talking about him, so we okay. I'm
He's
still
in
a
the
Denver
AFC
fan.
West. Her
Calm
team's in the
down.
AFC West. You stay with them as they go.
I know it's hard. It's hard. But yeah, no. I mean, I'm going with Mahomes. I think he carries more than people give him credit for. It looks good.
Oh no.
No,
People
he does
give
more-
that man enough credit.
He
Sorry.
does more
People give that
than
man
what the
enough
haters
credit.
give him credit for. Than what JJ Wang gives him credit for.
I'm on the
Oh,
Mahomes train. I'm with you, Lisa. Like, it's funny.
See?
He has a bad year and he's number 8. He doesn't have any rushing touchdowns this year. Rushing is down. Stuff's down in general. But he did make rookie Rashee Rice, who we thought were kind of like into a decent player. And free agents, we're looking at like he could land Hollywood Brown as like the low end. Calvin Ridley's a free agent. T. Higgins, there's no way they can afford him because they paid Mahomes too much. But maybe our boy Michael Pittman. Like there's guys there that could fill that hole. Maybe Mike Evans comes on the cheap to win a ship with him. Who knows? But there's options there to.
Hey, is there an option at receiver on Rich's list here that he could bring up that is a possible trade possibility to the Chiefs?
JJ?
I mean, AJ Brown. Is AJ Brown not on your
He's
list?
popped out towards the end.
No,
He's
I
had-
changed it early.
Ah,
late.
I thought I was going to be able to lead into AJ Brown there. I'm sorry.
I changed it late. I changed it to Justin Jefferson.
But do you think AJ Brown is going to be traded?
Oh,
No.
no.
Okay.
No.
I was like,
I'm
you
just
put
saying-
AJ Brown on the Chiefs. Holy cow! Like he's going to have more rings than Brady.
AJ Brown
Put
didn't
AJ
seem-
Brown on any team, and it's holy cow because that
He didn't
dude is
seem-
amazing.
He didn't seem very happy there towards the end of the year.
Right.
I'm not in Philly, so I don't know what's going on. But his numbers were a little down. He didn't seem very happy. You never know what direction teams might go.
The whole team wasn't happy. I mean, we were playing like dog. You know what? And you're welcome. And
he still had a top 5 wide receiver year. How about that
Absolutely.
crappy year?
yeah, like after the second half of the season, we went
That's
1-7. That is terrible. You're not gonna go far going 1-7.
Yeah. So
It's not.
So you didn't have AJ Brown. Who was your receiver that would be your dream player? Like this year, it couldn't be this year. So you're looking forward, you're looking backwards. He's arguably in the top discussion for a top player in a non Superflex league. And who is that?
I really like Justin Jefferson. I think he's a great route runner. He has great hands, and I think he just got hurt, didn't he? He got hurt.
He got hurt. He started the year on
He started
out for the start of the year. Yeah.
You know,
Or after
I
his first
think he's always going to be in that top 5 discussion for wide receiver.
Dude played 10 games, had 1,074 yards and 5 touchdowns in 10 games. He had 1,000 yards. Like he's a monster.
He is.
So are we are? I mean, we are pretty much all in agreement here. So are we saying Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof? Right? I mean, I think we were safe to say that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
because it wasn't Kirk Cousins for most of it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, so he had a bunch of putzes. The rookie throwing to him. He had who else? By the end of the year, he had oh gosh, a whole bunch. He had some terrible quarterbacks, but they played good because of him.
Oh yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean,
Joshua Dobbs killed it. Remember when we were on the Joshua Dobbs
yeah.
train for a couple weeks, and then who was it towards the end? I'm losing it right now. I'm trying to pull him up, but
wasn't it that Jared Hole
Nick
at
Mullins.
some point?
Jared Hall
Yeah,
had
Nick
a game and a half. Nick Mullins, like it was a bunch of jobbers. There we go.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Garrett Wilson theory here. Once they get a good quarterback in there, they'll be you're pretty confident they'll be the guys. Justin Jefferson. I mean,
I'm not a Wilson guy, 100%. I'm a Jefferson guy.
well,
Yeah.
I think everybody should be a Jefferson guy, right?
So is Jefferson wide receiver 1 for Dynasty, or is it
For me?
CD? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we're looking at Jefferson, CD.
I have him on I have him
Tyreek.
on my team that I won with. So
That's how you went. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I still think CeeDee Lamb can make a case. I still think a healthy Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow can make a case. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Jamar Chase ended up wide receiver 1 next year. It wouldn't surprise me if CeeDee Lamb was wide receiver 1 again. Well, it would surprise me because they got Dak Prescott, and we all know Dak Prescott
The
is
number 3 quarterback on the year. I mean, he's not.
yeah, okay. That'll never happen again, right? But I think CeeDee Lamb is probably in the same line as whoever's quarterbacking, probably going to be good. But if you give them an elite quarterback, they're going to be great. And Justin Jefferson is going to be great.
Now, speaking of great receivers, I think Lisa should have the floor because she blew the roof off with this pick. I mean, this is a guy. The unfortunate thing is in Dynasty, we've only got him for 2 more years. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
But his house burnt down, so maybe not. So, but we only got him for 2 more years. But are those 2 years worth trading away some picks to carry him? Your guy is
Tyreek Hill all the way.
Cheetah!
All the way. And, you know, like that guy, he's a beast. Like, he is a beast. He runs like nobody's business. He's in places he should not be. It is pretty impressive. And now that we've seen that it's not just the Chiefs, it's not just Pat Mahomes throwing that ball, you know, like he can do it anywhere.
Okay. We all agree. Cheetah's fast. You know, I've even kind of come around to it a little bit. I mean, he's an amazing guy. But let's look at this from a dynasty fantasy football perspective. He's only got 2 more years. So I don't think his value will ever be any higher than it is right now. So are you going to sell now and think maybe the dip is coming, or are you just willing to let it ride out and just let Tyreek Hill retire on your team, or do you get something in return?
Depends on your team.
nope.
Rich is like that man is not leaving my team. He's not leaving my team.
I got 3 first rounders. Would you trade him to me?
Ooh.
Okay, so that's the price. That's crazy. I would never pay that, but it's a 2 quarterback league.
I mean, that would be stupid not to at the very least very seriously consider. Like let's be real about that. But I also think when you're building a fantasy team, and yeah, we do dynasty. Like you do have to think ahead. Like I 100% agree. But you have to have players that can play with any other player. You know, like Justin Jefferson, absolutely. Like we've seen that is legit. But you start talking CeeDee Lamb, excellent. He's an excellent player, but can he play with, you know, X, Y, and Z quarterback? Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, but if he can play with Dak, then he can probably play with anybody. But you know, whatever. But you know, like, and in my head, like, Tyreek Hill is going to do it. He's going to do it regardless of who was throwing that ball. That's my guy.
He would have had the 2,000 yards if he hadn't missed that game and been injured for the other part of the one game.
He's a great receiver. I mean, he's fun to watch. I'm impressed.
So redraft. So we got Dynasty. We know we got 2 years and he's off the cliff. And I think it's really the team you're on. So if you're on a team that is win now, you can take it and you can win. If you're on a team that is not a win now team, then you're probably like if Lisa, like next year, Mahomes and Lamar go down, you might have to think, do I sell Tyreek to like a team that's going to win? That's the challenge at that point, because you're talking 1 year of Tyreek, because you know your team's a wash without those two.
100%. I mean, but here's the thing. My team, let's be real. I won this year. Super excited about it. My team is a wash every year. And I'll tell you why. Those 3 players that I have are my main 3 players, right? Everyone else, either I drafted poorly, I traded poorly, you know, I thought maybe this would work out in the end and it hasn't, like whatever. The thing that I did right was manage my team this season. I put the right guys in on the right week against the right opponents, and it worked out. So, you know, if Lamar and Mahomes go down, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm ride or die for my team.
If one of those guys go down, you're gonna have a tough time.
nothing, I'm in big
Like
trouble.
last year when Lamar went down, he just crapped on all of our teams, and we were.
Oh,
Did you have Huntley? I had Tyler. I had Huntley, and it was terrible. He got a couple of points here and there, but So you might have noticed, everybody, that we went straight to receiver with the AJ Brown segue, and we just skipped running back because they both chose the same running back, and that is really the best running back in the league, arguably at this exact moment in time, which is Christian McCaffrey. If you had a team, Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the league because he's a dual threat, triple. Now that he's healthy, so I mean, there's less wear and tear. So we know what he can do. We know if he is on the field, he's player one that you want to have depending upon your scoring, and there's a gap between him and the other running backs. So let's look at him from two lenses here. We got redraft, which will be coming up, and we have dynasty. I mean, McCaffrey had 1,400 yards. The next closest person was James Cook. How about that? The next closest person was James Cook with 1,100 yards. But McCaffrey also had 564 receiving, 14 touchdowns, 21 total touchdowns with receiving. Like there's no one he literally in PPR had 100 more points than the number 2 running back.
I mean,
he's player 1 in non-superflex, right? Next year.
Oh, I think absolutely. I mean,
over Justin Jefferson.
I think I would pick probably McCaffrey over Justin Jefferson. But I mean, it's close. I mean, I think they're both going to get about the same amount of yards. Probably.
I agree with that. I would.
So
Because running back, there's so fewer guys at running back. There's more wide receivers that you can get later. But running back is very important in those early spots that you're picking.
I mean, you look at him, then it's like Breece Hall, ETN, and then you got the number 13. What was that? Number 16 running back was Jerome Ford. No one drafted him. The number 18 running back was James Conner, like probably a 9th or 10th round pick. Then you got like Jalen Warren was 22. So within the running back, because everybody gets hurt so much that Gus Edwards was injured and then played or whatever. Like no one thought that, and then Eckler was 26. How sad is that? But if we're looking dynasty, how close is he to Breece Hall, considering he's 27 and the running back cliff is 26, 27. But then again, he does have those 2 years where he was injured and they weren't like catastrophic durability, like long lasting injuries. Is he the running back one for 2 years?
I mean, yeah. I think that's definitely positive. As long as he's with Kyle Shanahan, I think that's what sets everything. That's what makes everything. Stay with Kyle. Kyle Shanahan knows how to use him. Now, he does run the ball a lot. I mean, he's pretty much a 90% touch guy when it comes to snap percentage. That's a lot for a running back. He takes a lot of hits. So that's always a fear. But when you can't play fantasy based on injury, so you got to just assume that they're going to play. And if he's playing the whole season, there's no way over the next 2 years I can't see Chris McCaffrey not being RB1 in the hunt for RB1 every year.
I agree. I think 2 years is barring injuries. 2 years is easy for him.
He's got. I'm looking here. I pulled up their rushing attempts. Derrick Henry had 8 more rushing attempts than Christian McCaffrey, which is crazy to think. But Christian McCaffrey wasn't the reception leader. Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, both had about 10. They had 8 to 9 more than he did. So Breece Hall's the discussion. In 3 years, could Breece Hall be Christian McCaffrey, or next year could Breece? He's the next guy, right?
I mean, I think Breece Hall could definitely be RB1 next year. I'm not saying Breece Hall can't be RB1. I mean, I think McCaffrey will be. But it was like the way Breece Hall finished the year. I mean, if Breece Hall's playing all 16 games too, I think you could probably extrapolate that out and you're going to have an RB1 season. And I think maybe Bijan Robinson, with the new offensive change that comes in, Bijan Robinson could be the number 1 running back because he can catch balls just as, I don't want to say just as good as Christian McCaffrey, but just as capable as receiving the ball. But I mean, I think all 3 of them guys have a very good chance.
Speaking of Breece Hall, it's another one that is on my championship team this year. Just saying.
He was on a lot of championship teams.
Yeah, mine. Dynasty Diamonds champion on my team.
Kyron Williams.
Who?
Kyron Williams. Would he be in the talk?
I don't know who that is. Who?
The running back.
I mean,
Kyron Williams for the Rams.
I mean, I think Kyron Williams would be in the discussion because he plays for the Rams, and the way he played this season, if Kyron Williams playing all 16 games this season, and Kyron Williams, I mean, he's going to be a lot closer to McCaffrey than what the final numbers are. I mean, Tom McVay loves his workhorse running back. When he's got one, he rides them until they break down, and we'll see how far he can go.
Yeah, that's somebody who snuck up on me this year. I really didn't know who he was, and I still kind of don't. But yeah, he's good.
He's really good.
He is.
So let's jump on. We've been on for a while. Our show probably is going over here. So we'll just do a quick hit here on our tight ends because, I mean, tight end is great. We'll talk about them all year. And you both have – Lisa has probably the GOAT, and Rich has the heir apparent, if I had to argue these two guys. So we're looking at Lisa has Kelsey there, and Rich has Laporta. So
Yeah.
Kelsey, same Christian McCaffrey question. How many years?
Not a lot. And I will, and Rich will tell you, I struggled with this a little bit when I was trying to pick. I almost went Kittle.
Good blocker.
Right. Like, you know,
And if you got points for blocking, he's your guy.
I mean, I like Kittle. But no, I mean, I think 2 years probably max with Kelsey. He's at the end for sure, I think. And I don't think he would be as successful at a different franchise. I think it would be harder.
But why do you think he's only has 2 years left? I think he's still playing pretty well, and he's not hurt.
He's not hurt. He is playing pretty well, but he's also 34.
Yes.
Tony Gonzalez
34
played to 40.
Yeah, I mean, 34 years old. I mean, this was obviously his worst season that he's had over the last few years. It probably doesn't get better.
But he was
Right.
only like 60 yards away from 1,000 yards again.
He was 16 yards away from me. He had done
16 yards. Yeah, it wasn't 60.
Excuse
60.
me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Don't
But
attack.
you have to be realistic. He's 34. Yeah, he's not, had huge injuries, whatever. But like, the human body can only do so much. Like he's not going to get better. He's only going to start to decline. And I think this is probably, if this was not peak, if this season and last season were not his peak, next season will be his peak. And then we're going to start a decline. I think that's just realistic. But if we're talking about right now, who am I pulling for tight end? It's going to be Kelsey.
I mean, Kelsey is the thing about Kelsey, and it's the hard thing for fantasy. He was down on touchdowns this year. He still was the number 2 receiving yardage touchdown to Kittle. How about that for a connection? And he was the number 3 receiving tight end to Ingram and Hawkinson. Here's something funny. There's a tight end who has negative 10 yards on the year. This kid for Tampa, David Wells, as I'm doing my stats here. I thought that was funny. But yeah, so I mean, his numbers are up there, and it was just touchdowns. Like, Rich, I'm on board with you, man. Laporta is my new tight end man crush.
You look good.
So good.
Solid. He's up and coming, man. I wish I drafted him, honestly.
He's up. He's on my team, by the way, in Dynasty Diamonds. But he's up. There's no coming. He is right here. He just got to get that yard. He's not leaving. He might be my my Tyreek Hill because I need my tight end U shirt. But yeah,
we'll do a 3-way trade. I'll get you Hill.
Yeah, different league. but he's if he gets those
different leagues.
Yeah, we'll just swap across. But yeah, he's at 10.3 per reception. So if he gets some of the yards up, he still had 86 stinking receptions, broke the rookie tight end trend. So is Sam Laporta Dynasty tight end 1?
I mean, I think if you're going into a draft and you're drafting a dynasty team, do you want a tight end that's going to retire in a year or two? Do you want a tight end that's going to retire in 10 years? But the kicker is they're both going to give you the same numbers. Who do you want?
Laporta.
Exactly. So why would Laporta be tight end 1, right? I mean, that's how I would look at it.
Hawkinson's 26.
And Hawkinson
He's
is
good.
in contention. Hawkinson's in contention for wide receiver 1. I'm not saying it's just Laporta. I'm saying it's more than Kelsey. I mean, I think there's a couple guys that might have an opportunity here.
Yeah, it's Laporta's what rookies don't do that, and that's just disgusting. So,
well, the rookies in the old NFL didn't do that. I mean, rookies in the new NFL seem to do that a lot, right?
tight ends still. This is.
I mean,
Kyle Pitts. How many?
Kyle Pitts does. I mean, Kyle Pitts doesn't score touchdowns, but Kyle Pitts still got the yards as a rookie. So, I mean, he did it. He just didn't get the touchdowns, and he still can't get the touchdowns. But it happens more and more in the NFL than it ever has before. So it's kind of becoming like normal.
I mean, we're not even talking about Mark Andrews, who went out hurt, and he's only 28.
Yeah, I mean, he's a number.
It's a top. So we're going to close out the show. Each of you, we won't really discuss it. You have a homer pick that you love to have on your dynasty team. Tell us who it is. Tell us why. JJ Wang will give us some family wisdom, and we'll call it a day. And we will hope that the previous part of this recorded, and we're not in trouble. So we'll start ladies first again.
Okay. So, but what are we asking for out of a homer pick?
Whatever you want.
Like anybody in the league.
There was no homer from your team. You both took a guy from your team. So you picked your guy from your team that you liked the most because that's the homer pick. Because, I mean, we knew that Rich would pick all Eagles. It would have been, the running back for the Eagles, the quarterback for the Eagles, they're all good.
Right.
Yeah. So your player.
All right. So look, Jason's not going to get it. I picked Courtland Sutton from my team from Denver, and maybe you're going to be like, oh, it's Russell Wilson, or it's Judy, it's this and that. Russell Wilson has been trash,
and he's gone too. Probably
he's trash, and honestly, Denver's kind of trash. So if I have to pick the best from the trash pile, I'm going to pick Courtland Sutton
over Javonte Williams.
He was in the running too, and Rich can contest to that. I did say, like, I really went back and forth with it, but there's not a lot of good options.
Yeah, that is true.
Greg,
let's be
dumpster fire.
Let's be real. There's not a lot of good options.
There's not, and so it's just it is what it is. I'm just gonna pick.
Our new team are the Chiefs.
Just follow the points. I mean, that's what you had the touchdowns this year. He was the guy to have, and we'll see what the new quarterback does next year, whoever it's going to be. Yeah.
She's a Chiefs fan now.
And she just spit up a little bit in her drink. So, Rich, we know this should be, I mean, you do have other choices. You could choose any receiver or any quarterback. Who's your who would you say is your homer pick? For
all time or currently
right now,
playing?
the guy you wrote down.
I don't even remember who I wrote down.
Give us a little push.
You gave Jalen Hurts. You wrote down Jalen Hurts.
It's Jalen Hurts, man. Sure.
I'm Jalen Hurts.
I'm the biggest homer here.
Oh, hey, if football is not that, we all know Jalen Hurts is great. The thing that we talk about often is, would you rather have Patrick Mahomes score 3 more points for you? He didn't this year, but generally. Or have the guy you like, Jalen Hurts, on your team and not be mad at the TV because your guy's scoring against you. Like there's a part of fantasy that if it's close enough, take the guy you like and be happy versus just torturous. Because our leagues aren't that much money. We win some money, it's fun. But if I'm sitting there and I have to root for Jets, I would rather lose than root for a Jet player.
So there was, I forget which league it was, but I think it was my work league. It was a redraft league. Someone wanted to trade me Patrick Mahomes. For I forget who they wanted him for, because I needed a quarterback. Kirk Cousins got hurt, and I was like, "We're playing the Chiefs next week. I can't start Patrick Mahomes. I can't start him against my team."
Where's that level? It's a tough level, yeah.
And I did not make the trade because of that reason only. That's how much of a homer I am.
It was such an argument in this house, let me tell you, because I was like, why would you not, what are you doing? And he wouldn't do it. And I was angry.
Couldn't you have
Also-
traded him, picked up the quarterback for the Vikings, and played Mahomes in 2 weeks? Future thought.
That guy was already picked up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it was Jalen, but it wouldn't hurt because he got hurt that week anyway. But yeah,
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 but
I mean-
it was something else.
it's the sacrifices you got to decide on. Like I don't have Brees Hall, and I really want Brees Hall, but I don't know if I could root for Brees Hall but he's so good. But it's just watching the Jets win just makes me want to puke.
In
Yeah, I don't
my
have no problem.
Yeah.
in
I
my
mean, I'll root against every Cowboy. I'll root for a Cowboy. I don't care who. I hope the Cowboys get washed if my fantasy team is playing them. I do not care.
Jason knows this in our
They get washed.
in our ESPN league that we're in or whatever. I will not play a guy that's playing my team.
Wow.
I will stand him.
That's
I am that much of a homer. Like I cannot root for a guy that's playing my team. It's terrible. I have such big dilemmas every week.
It's a problem of having good teams. Wait till your team's bad. The reason I got into
Yeah.
fantasy is the Dolphins were bad for so long. Like we're still not. I've been dating and married to my wife since we started dating in 2003. The Dolphins have not won a playoff game since before that. So I have nothing to root for. This year was the most exciting year of my adult football fandom, other than fantasy, and we made it to one game. So sometimes that it goes the other way. We'll see what happens when they come off the cliff. If you'll still do it, that'll be the real test. Like right now, they're a spectacular team, but it'll be interesting to see when they become what the Broncos are right now.
And you know, it's funny to have such a polarizing effect here because I have my brother who's literally like, Cowboy what? Like, yeah, sure. Okay, I'm a Cowboy. Yeah, whatever. And then I have a husband who will, die for the Eagles. So it's funny to sit and watch the difference.
Look,
We're different
Look.
up here.
Look, no, you're not different. I was there one time, and I just realized
That is true.
they are not worth it, my man. Not worth it one bit. They have never done anything for me, and I have given them everything.
If I recall, Rich, just to prove Jason's point on that, I believe you had a broken bone over the Cowboys at one point, right?
Yeah, I broke my hand when Tony Romo dropped the field
ball.
goal.
Oh, I loved it, dude. That was the best moment ever.
He
What'd you hit?
He used to go hard for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
like he did.
That was the
So
turning
you punched
point in
the
my
ball and
life.
hit the 2x4.
Okay, well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Rich, for being with us here. These are Dynasty legends in two of our Dynasty leagues that we're together. JJ Wang, what wisdom do you have left? Your family's here giving wisdom, ounces of it. Apparently, don't punch a wall, or would you punch?
Yeah, I was at a motel room. Long story. Probably don't want to hear it. Let's not go there.
Family show.
But my words of wisdom, if you can see it here, I've been handling this little Swiss Army knife that I've probably had for 20 years. And I just realized that if you pull it out, it has a set of tweezers
Jesus.
and a toothpick. I had no idea.
Get the F out of
As
here.
always, trust yourself and trust the process.